Come on, go ahead.
Good.
There's formal one in there.
I'd like to call this Town of Cedar Lake Planning Commission public meeting, July 15th, 2020, 7 p.m. to order. Please stand for the pledge. Bob, would you like to lead us in the pledge, please?
He's not on yet.
Was on. Hey, Bob, you out there? Yeah. All right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, before we get to the agenda item, I'd like to read the Governor's executive order. In accordance with the Governor's executive order relating to COVID-19, in-person attendance of tonight's Planning Commission meeting will be limited. We have arranged a live stream of the meeting so those interested can view it from home. The meeting is slated to start at 7 p.m. You can view the meeting via our website at https://cedarlakein.org/view-town-meetings/. Then click on the view broadcast under the live broadcast. You must join the meeting through the link to participate during the public comment. Due to the unique nature of this meeting, the Town of Cedar Lake will accept public comment submitted electronically. If you have a question or comment about an item on the agenda, please email that question or comment to michelle.baker@cedarlakein.org. Ms. Baker will ensure all submissions are shared with the board members and that the submission will also be entered into the minutes of the meeting. Please keep your comments civil and constructive to the policy issues on the agenda. Okay. Roll call, please.
Heather Dessauer,
She'll be late.
Chuck Becker,
Here.
John Capora,
Present.
John Foreman,
He'll be late.
Richard Sharp,
Here.
Jerry Wolfeney,
Here.
Robert Carnahan,
He was supposed to be Zooming. I just asked him if he was probably.
Not on yet.
He'll be late.
Don Oliphant,
Here.
David Austin, Tim Kubiak, Michelle Baker,
Here.
and myself.
All right. June 3rd, 2020 work session and June 17th public meeting minutes. Anybody have any questions about the minutes? No one? All right.
I'll make motion. We approve the minutes.
Motion by John, second by Chuck. Roll call, please.
Heather Dessauer,
Heather, are you there?
Chuck Becker,
Yes.
John Foreman, Robert Carnahan, Richard Sharp,
Yes.
John Capora,
Yes.
Jerry Wolfeney.
Yes. Motion carries. Okay. Old business, Beacon Point East subdivision rezone. Owner petitioner, Beacon Point of Cedar Lake LLC, 8900 Wickard Avenue, St. John, vicinity 9000 West 141st Avenue, Cedar Lake. Petitioner is requesting preliminary plat for a 159 lot subdivision. Council, everything's good?
Well, yes, but let me be clear about what's good, at least from your lawyer's perspective. I received documentation for the project from Attorney Richard Anderson, namely a zone map mandatory ordinance and a cleaned up, clarified declaration of covenants, rights, and restrictions. All the changes that I have to be made in those documents from a lawyer's perspective, accuracy, detail, that type of thing, was made. So I confirm on the record that those documents are clean and ready to go. The PUD contract will be appended ultimately upon your approval here to the ordinance and will be part of the process of approval or non-approval. That's in good order also, subject to the details in the document being verified by staff and or your engineering on the various minute distances, dimensions, areas, et cetera, all the things that are,
You're referring to Don's report.
well, Don's report is part of it.
Okay.
For sure. Some of it's on the representations they're making here on the plan itself that are reflected then in the PUD agreement. So those are all married documents, and that's the legal review.
Okay, thank you.
It's also on writing in your record.
Okay. Hello, Jack.
Hey, how are you? Jack Hulls from DVG, representing the petitioner this evening, Beacon Point LLC, Beacon Point of Cedar Lake LLC. We were here last month for public hearing on this matter, and I believe we're in that item. And as David mentioned, there are two petitions related to the project. One is the primary plat, and the other is the zoning recommendation to the town council. I believe the discussion of last month ended in some discussion on 141st, and I believe that there's an agreement that's been reached with the property owner, and those details are shown on the plan currently of the widening as requested by the Plan Commission for between the two entrances. You know, the width that you've requested on the north side of the road, and also the water main extension along that entire frontage. So I believe that in the meantime, also me and Don worked out many of the review comments, gotten a letter from him regarding that. Many of those items are addressed. There are, you know, maybe a couple items, but a lot of minor cleanup of some text and stuff like that. So that's where we sit. If there's any further questions regarding the matter or any discussion, I'd be happy to entertain that.
Well, I think you hang out there 1 minute.
Sure.
Don, you have anything immediately?
Not really. We issued a letter on the 14th, mainly just that late because we were just tidying some things up. So majority of the comments are addressed. Like Jack said, we have some small minor stuff on the plans to fix, but it's super minor and it's really ready.
Okay. Mr. Hulls, you mentioned the adjacent property owner. So what has changed since then?
Sure.
I'm fairly certain I know from talking to Mr. Weincoop, but I want to be sure that it's on paper.
So Mr. Weincoop, I believe he's in the room, is the adjacent property owner here, and so this is the parcel that was in question, and there's an entrance here, and there's an entrance here, and our property ended here. So our pavement improvements and water main improvements were proposed to end here, and then also extend down the road here. And so for the town's request, they would like to see the road extended across the front, and also for water main to be extended and provide a looping system in here. I believe Don has review comments from Neil.
So the water line will continue in front of Mr. Weincoop's property all the way to the next road?
All the way to this entrance
Okay.
here. We'll be in publicly dedicated right away when all the things are in place. The pavement widening and curb and gutter will come all the way through there, and it's all consistent with basically what the town requested.
Okay.
On behalf of this property.
Okay, and you have all this current, all this
Water
current
main's
information?
water main's fully looped. The plan
Property adjustments have been made?
the plans show full widening through the Weincoop parcel all the way to their second entrance. So everything we asked for a month ago.
Okay. Chuck, any thoughts immediately?
Not right now.
Okay, John,
No,
nothing right now?
not right now, no.
Tim, Michelle, anything? Okay, Mr. Sharp.
And Mr. Weincoop, you're in agreement with all this?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I believe Bob's online now.
Bob's on.
I believe.
Yes.
Bob, do you have any questions regarding the Beacon Point East? There's been a few changes with the property owner.
Just as long as they got the two entrances and they we're working with all the residents and we're going to accommodate them. And Doug Weincoop just talked, right? I just got the tail end of that, so I don't know what he said.
Mr.
That's
Sharp,
still-
Mr. Sharp had asked Mr. Weincoop if he was in agreement with what Mr. Hulls was representing.
And
And
he's,
he said yes?
And he said yes.
Okay, very good.
Okay. Let the record show Mr. Foreman has arrived. All right. Tim, you have nothing?
I got a question here on your driveways, on your specifications. What is concrete or what is similar material? So driveways will be constructed, will be made of concrete or similar material?
you're talking in the covenants?
Yeah,
That's probably the same. There's no intention, I believe, to do asphalt. If that's kind of where the question is going.
I just want to know why it says for similar.
It might be, like impervious concrete or pavers. I don't really know why that would be in there, frankly, because in Beacon Point, I believe they're all concrete.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I guess it just concerns me to see that for
we can strike that
I
if
like
that's
concrete,
something that you
but,
want to see struck.
period. Like, I don't-
All right.
I don't know what that intention is for that.
That's 4 inches of concrete.
Yeah, we'd follow.
Yeah.
There's a standard detail requirement
It
for.
just says
Right.
all driveways constructed in Beacon Point East shall be made of concrete.
Or similar, yeah, that's the actual.
Okay.
So can we strike the or similar?
You good with that, Jack? Yeah. We're gonna, the motion is going to have to be minus that, correct?
That's fine.
Anything else in these PUD documents, Tim, that concern you? Don has a lot of comments here that,
I guess my only other thing that comes to mind quickly is just the open space outlots A, B, C, and D on the plat. Do a quick glance at that. See where we are for the park.
D are, A is the burn that's up front. D is the detention pond. Or one of the detention ponds.
Bottom of the walking trail.
Yeah, that's the front area. D or C is the little triangle that's also in the berm right at the entrance. Walking trail right here then.
hang on, Doug, hang on. We'll get there.
And D is all of the stuff along to the detention ponds on the north side.
And how much land did that come up to minus water, or does we have a? I mean, I know it's open space, I guess it's identified.
We had that before, didn't we, Don?
We did. I mean, on the plat, it says, outlet D alone, 7.5 acres. Outlet A is 0.8. Outlet B is roughly 3, and outlet C is just over a tenth. All told, it's 10 acres, give or take, more than that. 11 plus.
11, I think it's about 50 acre parcel.
So, Mr.
All walking trails still exist other than the one on the.
The one that's next to the detention pond and the point hoops has been removed.
other than-
But the one that goes along the back of the lots further north, by the depressional or comp storage area, that still remains, yeah.
That's all I have for now, Jerry. Thank you.
Okay.
Jerry,
Yes, Bob.
is this for the PUD, and are you talking about the letter that we got from Don Oliphant?
I believe that was what Tim was reading off of, but we're on the preliminary plat for the 159 lot subdivision. We didn't get to the rezone PUD yet.
Okay, because there's 10 items there on that letter from Don Oliphant that have not been addressed. So we'll do that with PUD, or is that in this?
That's the way it's looking here. I know the legals were in order and Don's comments are here, and that's why we're trying to kind of vet through this a little bit.
Okay, but it says not addressed PUD documents, and it's listed A through J, so there's 10 items there.
And
Yes.
Bob, I think I can address that now. If we don't just want not wait till the second item, essentially is I don't think my comments ever got forwarded on to the attorneys. So they weren't seen until recently. So in all honesty, they're rather minor, and I don't think anybody has objections to them. They just need to be added to the final PUD ordinance and guidelines.
All right, thank you.
So that needs to be added to the motion also.
Well, I would make it contingent on the letter.
Yeah, you can
Just to
make
make
it
it
contingent
simple.
on Don's letter, and we'll be fine with that.
What's the date on your letter?
Well, these are outstanding from the previous letter, so they're not new.
July 1st.
Yes. So they're not new. I don't know how they kind of got, not forwarded to everybody that it should have been forwarded to, but they're not new. Just my understanding that they weren't seen. So
Well, isn't that a predicament?
Not a predicament.
All right. Do we have any remonstrators for or against this? Mr. Weincoop, you good?
Yeah.
All right. Anyone else? Okay. She can come back up, Jack. Mr. Foreman, now that you've had a quick review,
Yes.
any thoughts or comments?
I do not have any. We've been reviewing this for quite some time. As long as they worked with the neighbors, that was kind of where we were at the last meeting.
I guess what I'm confused about is this PUD and everything should have been just like the last one, right?
Okay.
So Don shouldn't have had any comments, right?
Well, these comments are, there wasn't comp storage on Beacon Point. So all he's asking is that the compensatory storage area be included in the open space permitted uses. Because the permitted uses as that were outlined in the original Beacon Point, there was no comp storage. So they have that statement in there. It's a pretty simple little statement to add. That's the request there. He's saying that any amendments to the change in the engineering or the site plans need to, that's a kind of a CYA,
Okay.
cover for you guys. So I think these are really quite minor. I think Don would attest to that, and we're willing to include any of these in the PUD document that would go in front of the town council. So, I don't really see that there's a hang up.
Okay, Chuck, any other thoughts? You're good? Mr. Shapora, you good?
I'm good.
Mr. Carnahan, any questions?
No, that might have been answered.
Okay. Mr. Sharp?
All good.
You're good?
Yes.
So the letter, Mr. Chairman, the letter that I'm looking at is July 14th. It looks to be updated from the last meeting.
Yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure we were all talking about the same document.
Don, any other thoughts?
I do not.
Nothing. Michelle? You good? Tim's good? All right.
We will address the, as stated before, the address. At final plan.
Get no water all the way down there to the second end, which was
Well, it seemed like there was some beneficial improvements. So,
And as part of this project, we will also be putting water main across the CSX railroad tracks and connecting into Beacon Point. So there'll be, that continuation will be provided as part of this project.
you can't sneak a sidewalk in there somewhere?
We can always see if CSX would allow us to do that, but that's a permitting process that we can go through.
Well, I'm just wondering, who's it easier for?
Town or?
Sure.
So the
I mean,
town has
we
to do
we- we
it.
know-
The town had to apply for the water main permit. So
I mean, we know how long it takes to
Well,
chase down,
I've been trying to put-
chase down property, John.
I've been trying to put railroad crossings at that intersection as well as 137th for the
at least 2.5 years, Jill's been hounding CSX, and I'm not sure where we're at on it, but I bug her quite frequently.
We're kind of currently looking at it as part of a railroad grade crossing grant, just due by another month. We're gonna put that into it.
Is there anything this project could help with? Any
They
piece
have
of it?
contact with them.
We have
There's
contact, we
actually
have
a
good
live
relationships with
person, which is-
CSX, so we can, we
That's-
definitely are willing to do that. And, you know, I think a subdivision on this side of the tracks does then also motivate CSX because, you know, now it's just two, you know, connecting two farm fields. So, you know, it's not really a need. But I think when you have these developments that have been approved, construction is starting, now they see, oh yeah, we do need this. And so they'll start to listen a little bit better.
Well, the odd thing is, Jack, and it's a little bit off the subject, if you go north, 117th Parish, probably about 10 years ago, they put railroad crossings there. And they also put some on a dead end road that is 113th. So it's but that's an unincorporated county.
Yeah.
So it's mind boggling to me how they, especially when a young gentleman who got an honorary diploma,
Hmm.
I'm pretty certain was also killed at that intersection when he was in 7th or 8th grade. So it's just mind boggling to me how CSX would not see development in the town of Cedar Lake, take it upon themselves, especially when the town's requesting it. It's just,
Yeah.
it's unfortunate, quite honestly.
Maybe the right people aren't talking to the right people. So,
So the
maybe we
distance
can
bet-
try to,
The distance, Jack,
Because
between
it was-
your sidewalk and the sidewalk on the east side, where they end today, is what? 50 feet? Another, Don, can you answer that?
Yeah, it's more than that.
So
It's
with the
100. I
railroad,
think it's 100.
Is that
I
100?
think it's 100.
yeah, it's 100 across the railroad.
Gotcha.
100.
Okay. That's all I had.
I mean, we can work. I mean, we'll probably get in contact with them anyways when we go through our grant process, so we can work with them. You know, between the two designs to at least try to push CSX as much as we can.
Anything will help.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Anything would help.
How do we liquidate that into P&D contract so that it's an agreement of the developer to participate with the town for the public health and safety of our citizens? if they're doing that?
Would have to be another complicated motion.
Does it need to be part of the motion? I mean, because
It doesn't need to be part of the PUD, Jack, if we're going to enforce it. Otherwise, it's just talk.
well, what are you enforcing? Because we can't apply for that,
Well,
that permit.
I'm gonna ask you to participate in, I guess, the level or value of that participation, so that they have to decide, this is the time to do it. This is the
Oh,
time to do
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
I guess providing contacts and
I mean, do you want them to ultimately pay for?
Yeah, I
The
guess, I
sidewalk?
mean, are you asking us to pay for the sidewalk going across there, or are you looking for?
Would you be
us-
willing to
I-
pay for the Beacon East side at least?
I'm just,
I'll ask the question.
Yeah, exactly.
In the event we get a grant within a.
Yeah, I mean, if
Or add it to the.
we can add it to a permit, you know, the CSX.
Before
per-
80% filled
just-
out or something?
Just the water main permit was over 10 grand. So, you know, the permitting for that's probably more than the concrete.
I guess the logical thing would be if you're there digging to put in water main, now would be the time,
yeah, and
if they would allow us.
the thing there, it's a directional bore underneath. We're going from right away to right away. We're not even touching them as far as the water main is concerned.
if the grant is pursued and the grant money shows up, could they not be reimbursed?
It's like 20. It's like $2,500 of sidewalk.
Yeah, I was going to say, if it's the concrete, I don't think that's going to be an issue there.
More.
We'll help, we'll facilitate with as permitting, but again, we can't apply for the permit because it's going to be the same situation as the water main. We applied for the water main and they said, we will only deal with the municipality that's going to own it. So they're going to say the same thing with the sidewalk. They're going to say, who's going to own that sidewalk when it's all and it's installed? It's going to be the town. So the town has to be the applicant. So, you know, we can share contacts. We can share, you know, all the information. We can agree to pay for it, but ultimately the town's going to be the one that's going to have to do the permitting.
Yeah, I got that, but I know that sometimes another path is better.
So,
So what do you recommend, Mr. Austin, for a motion? Because,
the best decision for the town is to have cash. An estimate of the cost of the non-grant funding portion. Might be the appropriate thing to do to liquidate it, then we don't have to have this facilitation discussion or have it anyway.
Can figure out cash in kind on the side and.
Yeah, can we include it as a public improvement that's to be bonded with phase one?
I don't think we bond for it.
I mean.
hold on,
I
Bob.
don't think we bond for it
Well,
because the timeframes probably aren't going to
I
sync.
guess what I'm saying is that we do a cost estimate as part of phase one, and you want the fee at that time when we bring in phase one plat, which is the time that what bonding, letters of credit, all that stuff is happening anyways, we'll do it at that point. We'll agree to do it and you make it part of the motion, but that's when the number and the actual cash will come.
Make that the time it's due, but not as part of the letter of credit.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
The timing on this project is going to be different than the timing on the sidewalk. In fact, the railroad behaves like it always behaves, slowly.
Yeah.
Performs slowly. So the escrowing has a separate and distinct aspect. Takes that away from the flat time periods and the flat surety that Jack's talking about. And just makes it a separate item.
Yeah.
We do it all over the place.
Yeah.
We do it all the time.
I'm-
Set aside an amount of money.
So-
Whatever's agreed upon.
Yeah.
I don't have a clue. Whatever's agreed upon is reasonable for participation.
It'll be around $2,500.
Yeah.
Plus or minus.
And I'm suggesting that the number could be decided, the number could be decided at final. Unless you want to do it now, I don't really care,
I
but
don't think we can. Everybody's, got a number.
yeah.
If we would have done that, we'd have different numbers for everybody.
And that's why I'm saying that we typically put all those numbers together for letters of credit, so we could do that exact
So the
cost
motion,
estimate
so
on that number.
the motion should include
The agreement to do it.
the
yes.
agreement to
Yes.
provide a
Yeah,
not yet determined cost for a sidewalk.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean,
All right.
our builder is down to like 3 lots. And
Okay.
so they need to get moving on this project.
Don,
Yes.
can you provide a number in the near future?
I will.
All right. Tim, any other thoughts?
I do not.
Okay, Michelle? No. Mr. Foreman, Mr. Sharp, anything?
I'm good.
You good?
Sure, yeah.
This, we're just gonna move on the petition to preliminary plat first.
Yes, sir.
And what we're talking about, the sidewalk, that goes under the PUD.
That's my understanding.
So it wouldn't be part of
Whatever
this.
motion you wanted under it, it could go.
Either one, either one. So we have the striking the anything else but concrete.
Yeah.
And then the PUD covenant, Don's documents, letter,
July 1st,
contingency, July 1st. Yeah,
So we need to mention the 14th.
whatever
This
this,
should be part of just July
14th.
14th.
14.
Just the 14th
Yeah.
letter?
Just the
Okay.
14th letter.
Okay.
Be a contingent of both motions.
Chuck, anything else?
And the sidewalk, in that motion, the sidewalk will be, the developer will participate in,
A undetermined,
To be determined.
to be determined.
Installation and material costs
Okay,
through the railroad right away.
okay.
We'll get it. Take a while, but we'll get it.
Chuck, you're good. Okay.
2025.
Mr. Carnahan, any thoughts?
What I was getting ready to say, I think all we do is make a motion. The petitioner is requesting a preliminary plat for 159 lot subdivision. I think that's all we're going to talk about this, but all that other stuff would be in the next motion for the petitioner requesting a rezone to the PUD.
There was some sidebar discussions, Bob, and we've been told that these details can be in either one. Don's letter.
Yeah, I think they should be covered under the PUD rezone instead of the request for preliminary plat for 159 lot subdivision.
So is that a motion, Bob?
I will make a motion just to approve the preliminary plat for 159 lot subdivision.
Taking out the concrete.
Contingent on my letter.
Contingent on Don's letter?
I'm going to, I want that in the next item with the PUD that we're going to talk about next.
It has to be in both. There's still.
It's got to be in both. It's got to be in both.
There's still minor engineering comments that relate to the plat. So, and the
There's
site
some
plan.
overlaps, Bob, in Don's letter, so they kind of blends to the preliminary plat and the rezone to the PUD.
All right, contingent on the items in Don Oliphant's letter.
Okay, we have a motion by Robert Carnahan. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Richard Sharp. Roll call, please.
Heather Dessauer,
Heather, are you there? Anywhere? No, Heather.
Chuck Becker,
Yes.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
Richard Sharp.
Yes.
John Capora,
Yes.
Jerry Wilkie.
Yes. Motion carries. Okay, next item, second part of this, petitioner is requesting a rezone to a PUD. This is a recommendation to the town council, correct? Okay. All right. We're going to include the concrete only. Striking anything else?
Concrete only.
And the,
That's actually
Yeah.
one of our notes that
Is
will
that
need
in
to
your
be
letter?
added. That's in our letter too.
That's it.
okay, all right.
Okay.
Okay, do we have a motion for the rezone to PUD?
Mr. Chairman,
Recommendation.
do you need to run through and ask for petitioner since this is the second
Oh,
one?
yes, you're right. Okay, Mr. Austin, everything's in order?
It is. Was last week.
Okay. Petitioner, you have any comments?
Nothing further.
Okay. Don, you have anything?
No.
Okay. Remonstrators, anyone? Anybody waving their hand?
Nope.
Nobody there? Building department comments? Nothing, nothing times two? Commission's discussion, anybody have anything?
In this motion, you're going to include the striking the similar materials,
Yes, sir.
and you're also going to include the sidewalk costs to be determined at a later date for the installation of material costs
And help with
At the
contacts
CSX
of the
railroad.
CSX.
and help with contacts.
Beacon to beacon. Yeah, favorable recommendation, John. If that's your choice.
And Don's letter.
And Don's letter, 714.
That's it.
That's it, I think.
I know, if you-
I
anybody
think
else
that's it.
has.
I think that's it.
If
I
you
think
got
that's
anybody
it,
else
John. No,
You got anybody
Chuck,
else to
Chuck,
talk?
you're good? Chuck, you're good?
Yeah.
Sarah, you're good?
Oh, good.
All right,
Go
then
ahead,
I'll make a
John.
motion. We send a favorable recommendation to the town council for a PUD which should include the striking of similar materials after concrete and what the driveways will be, including Don's letter of July 14th to clear up all the little minor items on that letter, and to include a cost to be determined at a later date for material and installation of the sidewalk over the railroad tracks. Is that correct? Over the railroad tracks. And The developer will provide any help with contacts or what have you to obtain this permit to see that that is done.
I believe, okay. I believe Heather's in. Is Heather on?
Yes, I'm on. Sorry, Jared.
Okay. Are you following any of this right now?
Yeah, I've been on since 8:10. I just called in under the wrong number, but I've been listening.
All right. Okay, Mr. Kapora made a motion with a few contingencies. And it's going to be seconded by Chuck Becker for the, yes, sir.
John clarified that the amount for the sidewalk be at or before the final plat application.
I don't think he said it
No,
quite
I
there.
just said a later
You
date.
said a later date, but we,
I know what you said.
Okay.
The dialogue here was time certain, and they'll be coming in here soon.
To be determined
At or before final plat.
At or before final plat.
at or before final plat.
Okay, the motion's been amended
First phase,
at the recommendation of Mr. Austin, and Chuck Becker has seconded it. Roll call, Sarah, please.
Heather Dessauer,
No.
Chuck Becker,
Yes.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
Richard Sharp,
Yes.
John Kapora,
Yes.
Jerry Wilkie.
Yes. Motion carries.
thank you very much for your time. Appreciate that.
This is the first multifamily unit I voted for. And the only reason is because it went from multifamily, it could have been potentially apartment buildings and what have you,
Yeah.
to what you guys are doing. But I still think we're about full with these sorts of developments for our community. That's all. Thanks, Jen. Thank you.
Mr. Foreman, since you brought that up, did you have a number?
Updated number?
You gotta talk to him?
Yes.
Oh. Okay.
I want to make certain that the documentation that gets submitted for the town council consideration of the zone change that is now favorably recommended as a clean, complete document with the exhibits attached. So our council doesn't get half a document, so that the staff has everything they need, so we're not 2 months from now scrambling around trying to find paper. Right, Michelle?
Yes, sir.
Michelle's old.
Attorney Anderson will communicate to you and to Michelle together so that both of you have it and the
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Mr. Foreman,
Yes.
since you're bringing up multifamily, you had determined a percentage in
Yeah.
town.
A year or so ago, I think we were around 30-some%. Now, since that spreadsheet, I've stumbled upon other apartments that I think did not make the list in other multifamily units, such as duplexes that are in crazy places. Somehow years ago, people said, hey, I want to buy a double wide and put a duplex here. And the town said, okay, let's do it. Great
Okay.
idea, you know. So there's a handful that I've missed. So
Okay.
That's the answer.
All right. Well, all that homework is good, Mr. Foreman. All right. Next item on the agenda is new business, Centennial Phase 15, final plat, North Centennial Development LLC, 8051 Wicker Avenue, Suite A, St. John. Approximate vicinity, 1000 Richmond Avenue. Petitioner is requesting final plat for 20 single-family lots in Phase 15 of Centennial. So there's no confusion. This is continuing north of the original Centennial property, correct?
No, this is actually
is-
right in the center of
In the
Centennial.
Oh, it's in the center. Okay.
That's where that dirt
There
pile
was the big dirt pile that has now been removed.
No,
Yes, it's gone.
say it's not so. Go ahead, Jeff.
Jeff Yatsko with Old Toff Homes. Tonight, we were going to seek final plat approval for Unit 15. I am going to ask that get deferred until August, simply just because we're so close with the letter of credit. We don't have the utilities actually inspected yet, so we're just going to push this off till next month so that we get that letter of credit down to the 25% maximum reduction.
Okay.
I've talked to Don. I'm sure we'll be there. We've already paved. We've already put curbs in. We're just really waiting on a couple of inspections and record drawings and things.
Okay, so waiting 2 weeks isn't, or waiting a month is not going to
So
bother anything.
It's not going to
Okay.
bother us, but I
You're-
wanted to stay on the agenda. Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, you refer to this as Unit 15, you mean it's all to be
It's phase 15.
phase 15?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
But yeah, it will finish the single family. It's actually what's highlighted plus what goes up to Richmond there. So it's that last leg, that last cul-de-sac
Okay,
around the pond.
so Mr. Yatsko is requesting a deferral and to remain on the agenda for the next planning commission meeting, which is what, August 13th? What day is that?
Is that what it is?
No,
I think it's the
19th. 19th.
We need to go through the town engineer and remonstrators.
Final plat, Bob.
Yeah, but it's got petitioners' comments, town engineer comments, remonstrators, building department. Are you going to cover those before we give a deferral?
I will zip through that, Bob. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
No.
Okay. Don, you have any comments right now?
I mean, the plat's in order. We're just kind of waiting to hit that magic number for the letter of credit. So
Okay.
if we
Right.
had a letter of credit, it would have been in order to be approved today.
All right. Are there any remonstrators in the room for or against this or would like to speak their piece regarding this item? Nobody on the internet?
Again, I think that's a typo on the agenda.
Yeah. Okay. Building department comments? You have anything, Michelle? No? Any discussion? Anyone? Okay. Okay. So I guess
Motion to defer.
we have a motion by Mr. Carnahan and seconded by Mr. Kapora to defer this item to the next meeting, August 19th. Roll call, please.
Heather Dessauer,
Yes.
Chuck Becker.
Yes.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
Richard Sharp.
Yes.
John Capora,
Yes.
Gary Welkening.
Yes. Motion carries.
I do have one request for Centennial. I don't know if we can talk about it now or at the end. We would like to final pay. We'd like to pay for the final pay for phase 15. I discussed this with Don a little bit. I believe he talked to Tim, but Tim has left the room. We would still carry the 80% bond. I'm sorry, we would carry the bond through the 80% occupancy. But we're just looking to, we want to surface everything now. We're finishing 8 and 9. We're doing the repairs for the maintenance. We're surfacing 13. So we'd like to pretty
You're
much.
not worried about the final 20% being finished and some of their cement trucks and things spread up the road?
They'd be liable for it still. It's still.
Right. So it
Yeah.
would just be like anything else. If we damage it, we'd have to repair it because you guys will still have the bond on it.
Right.
So this is likely where the update in the development standards is going to go. It will be up to the developer we will allow them to put the surface coat down, but not roll it into a maintenance bond until they hit the 80% build out.
At that point that you'd be inspecting it?
Yes.
Okay.
We would be inspecting again at that point. So when it rolls anyway. So, I mean, there's definitely pros to putting the final coat on to get the drainage to work correctly and not have, ponding and whatnot. And this being the last phase in the overall, besides that, undetermined north part, it would be the last thing. They're going to pave phase 13, which is the northwest corner here in the next, couple of weeks, Friday. There you go. So the entire subdivision will have service code on it then. We don't have an issue with it.
So
If you
this
were
is,
to add
so this is something we're going to have to add to the motion
You could make a,
next week, next month.
No, this
Or
is
he's
essentially
asking-
just an engineering waiver.
Okay.
2 year
but I think
from your
he's
development
asking
standards.
if you
Now.
could maybe
Make it now.
add it to the agenda. You as the chairman could add this item to the agenda and then we could solicit a motion. Is that correct, Mr. Austin? It is.
Okay. And every piece of, every bit of that, Mr. Austin, would be totally legal.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Tim, any thoughts?
No, I mean, me and Don have had this conversation several times, and
Well,
like you said, I think that this is gonna be the way we go, because if you notice, all the mud, all the puddles, everything collects next to those
Well,
storm drains. If you go through the new subdivisions, almost every curb poured around the storm sewers is busted off from all the big trucks driving over them, because all the water seeps down next to it, and concrete trucks drive over them. They break, so it's
well, by, doesn't that gonna save the primary coat through a winter? Does that help preserve it a little better?
I mean, there are pros and cons. I mean, especially with these smaller plats where, your 80% is going to get there faster than, say, 150 lot, plat. Maybe that's something to be thought of for the bigger ones. For this one, I don't think it really matters a whole lot. I mean, they're still going to be on the hook with performance until they get to the 80% threshold. So it's kind of a common ground to an issue we've kind of been dealing with for the last several years. Like I said, there's pros and cons to both ways. This is kind of the middle ground, I think.
You would actually inspect the surface twice, because you'd inspect it at the end of performance and at the end of maintenance too. So
Yeah. And then, yeah, I mean, for the larger subdivisions, if they do go ahead and do surface right away, if there's a big lapse in time when they put it down to when they want to roll to maintenance, we'll inspect it again then too. So we may get 3 cracks at it at that point, depending on how much time lasts. In this case, it's such a small one, you're not going to have that issue. And we don't see a whole lot of 160 unit plats straight off the bat. They're broken up into phases nowadays. So,
Okay. All right, the petitioner has requested a waiver to final coat immediately.
At 80%.
This at 80%.
Is that correct?
not adding.
No, not.
No,
we
we
put it
do
down now immediately.
Yeah, he wants-
Performance would stay until 80%.
Yeah,
at
the
bottom.
performance would say, so the petitioner is requesting a waiver of the final coat to do it sooner than later. For unit 15.
I would make a motion to that effect.
Got a motion by Mr. Foreman. We have a second by Chuck Becker.
Okay. Yeah.
Roll call, please.
Heather Dessauer,
Yes.
Chuck Becker,
Yes.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Robert Carnahan,
No.
Richard Sharp,
Yes.
John Capora,
Yes.
Jerry Wolfening.
Yes.
Yeah, Tim, I think too, like you guys said, we should add this and Don
It'll be in the
to
update this
a
winter.
new option.
Yeah.
Because especially with the asphalt plants,
I think-
everything else is going.
I can see where it creates some preservation of the original investment.
Yeah, I mean, you like I said, it's pros and cons because you're trying to make drainage actually function like it's designed to. And yes, you do put more pressure on the surface coat with all the, construction vehicles running over it, but it should be structurally sound, and this would be a good little tester.
And this,
Curbs get broke and the curbs get banged up and everything, so with that kind
That
of,
lip.
worst case scenarios, you're gonna have to do a 1.5 mil and over, redo the surface.
so the first coat of blacktop is how thick?
3 inches.
First one's 3, and
Surface
second
is
one
1.5.
1.5.
I would recommend, Jeff, that you don't park your dumpsters on the surface coat.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So
You're doing
we
that in binder,
typically
that's
surface-
fine, but don't put it on the surface.
Right.
You're
We
just gonna hurt
typically
yourself.
surface all of our subdivisions right away. And then, yeah, the dumpsters go over the curb.
Yeah.
So,
Well, this is small enough, I think.
Yeah, it'd
it
be a good
can't-
little
it
test
can't
so we
hurt
can keep
to,
an eye on.
test it here.
Yep.
Okay,
thank you.
thank you, Jeff. Item number 2 on new business, Yankee subdivision. Petitioners requesting preliminary plat for a 1-lot subdivision. Owner petitioner Michael Yankee, vicinity 13310 West 133rd Drive, Cedar Lake. Petitioners, again, the petitioner is requesting preliminary plat for a 1-lot subdivision. Mr. Austin, everything's good?
Good evening.
Hello there.
My name is Glenn Bourne. I'm a land surveyor with DVG Team Inc. in Crown Point, and I'm here on behalf of Mr. Yankee, who owns the property, which lies in a very unique part of Cedar Lake, I would imagine. It's kind of northwest corner of the lake, and it has it's sandwiched by the tracks on the west side, and the roadway entrance is basically across from the concrete place that's there, and you wind back towards there, and there's his parcel. Mr. Yankee used to have a house. He bought the property. It used to be a house that sat on the property. It's been removed. He wishes to build a new single-family residence. It's actually a log cabin construction type home. And in order to do that, to facilitate that, the lot, I say lot, but it's not what it is. It's a meets and bounds described parcel. So per your ordinance, we're here on tonight seeking preliminary plat approval on a one-lot subdivision. So one of the things that we did so far is we appeared before the BZA last week and got 2 developmental variances as far as a setback because it's a double front lot. It requires 2 rear yards. We requested those to be reduced to 20 feet. And we also, because of the double front lot, the garage became technically in front of the house or in the front yard. So we asked for that variance as well and received both of those. One of the things that we are kind of cleaning up with the plat, besides the meets and bounds into a one lot, is that we identified a little bit of the pavement was over into Mr. Yankee's parcel. So we're dedicating an additional 5 feet of right of way on the north side. We also put a fillet in there to accommodate the corner so that all the pavement will eventually be in the right of way, which is always a good thing. And we also had identified there was a overhead utility line that kind of cut across the parcel that NIPSCO must have gotten permission, or we don't know why.
Not necessarily.
Not
Go ahead.
necessarily, but yes, it's crossing the parcel, but we figured we'd clean up their mess too. So we're dedicating or we're granting a 12-foot utility easement across the front and across the east sides. And basically the house, it's kind of a unique parcel because there is about 16 feet of relief from front to back. The variances were mainly dealt with, we wanted to put the house up on the hill, back in the back corner, as close to the tracks as we possibly get it. So that's why we asked for those variances. As far as everything else goes, I don't know if Don, when you get to your comments, do you want me to talk about the waivers now?
Sure.
Okay, so Don had also recommended that we ask for the following waivers in permission for tonight for the preliminary plat approval. The first was the stormwater detention. The second was the sidewalks. The third was the widening of the public road. The fourth was the park dedication. And the fifth was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That would be the sixth, I'm sorry. The tree placement requirements. And those were the waivers we'd be seeking. As far as the sidewalks go, there isn't a sidewalk on that entire side of the lake on the northwest side. The widening of the public frontage, we are dedicating another 5 feet to give it an even 25, so that if 25 became available on the other side, you have a full width 50 feet. The park dedication and the tree placement, again, it's a one lot subdivision on a half acre. So there's. So other than that,
So Don, where's the railroad track going north and south?
yes, on the west side.
Sidewalk, trees.
That's the west boundary.
It's the west.
Where's the viaduct?
Yeah.
Viaduct is, well,
North of there.
front of them.
That's
The one
Okay.
that floods is here.
Okay, so it's like
Can be
going into the trailer park kind of.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
The other parts are kind of.
And one of the things that we worked out a little bit is the fact that it is a double front road. So the GIS and everybody has the east-west road as 133rd Drive. Okay, and then I have the north-south road as 133rd Avenue. So go figure. But historically, once we got into the boundary of the matter and we're starting to get to a little bit of history, and some of you may know this already, is obviously 133rd used to go through, right, before Lakeshore Drive went around. So this is the extension of that, as if you went straight west, it would connect directly with 133rd Avenue, even though we're calling it 133rd Drive. But we did kind of manage to eke out an address for this place because the house is going to face east. And so the GIS had an address. It fits within the scheme of what's going on with the town and the mailing system. And we think we got that at least nailed down, but it's only one house. So that was that. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to entertain.
1 second.
We used to
Sure.
have,
Go ahead, Bob.
We used to have a road that went right across the railroad track while we had the viaduct there too. And then it eventually got shut down.
We also used to have the railroad tracks to the east, Bob.
Yep. Heather, are you familiar with this piece of property?
I know the general vicinity, but I don't know exactly where it's at. I was actually just pulling it up on my map.
Yeah, it's, I think if you're heading to the trailer park, it's the weaving through there. It's the first hard left. The Armor Rock is across the tracks to the west. There was
Okay.
there was a house on the area. Yeah, that's where the west side of that house will be, of course, facing the railroad track. So I want to make sure you know what you're looking at.
Sure, thank you.
Okay. Don, any thoughts on this?
We have no comments on the plat. Like Glenn said, we have 2 recommendations for contingencies, which are typical of one lot subs. He mentioned all the engineering waivers and then also the actual site plan for the house itself we reviewed through building department when the time comes.
Don,
Yes.
in Michelle's comments in red, she indicates that final plat information was submitted and is being reviewed by Don and his team. Is what you talked about, is that what she's referring to?
Sort of. That's the next, I guess, motion, but we're okay with the final plat as well. Yes, the waivers would go with the preliminary plat.
Well, they should go in sequence because if they're not granted, the final plat's not right. But the primary plat's not right, actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
For clarity in the record and process.
Yes, you're correct.
Okay, Glenn, would you sit down 1 second? Let me see if there's any remonstrators for or against this petitioner's request. Anyone regarding Yankee subdivision? Okay, Glenn, come back up, please. Building department, any thoughts, comments?
No, this is pretty much a cleanup thing. I think that he got the variances for his positioning of his house. Don and myself will review the site plan.
We worked with him on that address to ensure that that was correct, and then also, he doesn't need the waiver for trees.
No.
He has plenty of trees. He needs all of it.
Is that listed in your letter to trees, Don?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's just a requirement for
Probably just have to leave
subdivision.
it.
So.
Okay. All right, building department, Bob, any other thoughts?
I would just like to thank Michelle for her comments, and she has in there that the original house was demolished in 2017.
Thank you, Bob.
Okay, Heather, any thoughts?
I mean, overall, I always appreciate taking down an old abandoned house and replacing it with something new. So that's all I would really have to say about that.
It's a huge improvement. Mr. Sharp,
No,
anything?
all good.
Mr. Foreman?
No.
Good? Mr. Kapora?
I'm good.
Mr. Becker?
If any other question about the sidewalks, there's nowhere it would benefit to have sidewalks there at all.
There are no sidewalks in this immediate subdivision. The nearest sidewalk would be the one to the west that was installed a couple of years ago as part of the Safe Routes to School. It essentially dead ends at the driveway directly west of here. Essentially right here.
On the way up that drive, the dead ends at the tracks where the Armor Rock is, that sidewalk kind of dead ends there. And this is not a piece of property, I think, that you could continue it on because it's too far.
And
too far
there,
over.
and he has, there's the property is drained by kind of a ditch line too. That's kind of on his frontage. So putting sidewalks would have to enclose that ditch line. And I don't think a sidewalk's warranted through here.
Yeah, but if we make other people put sidewalks in when there's no other sidewalks in the area, why shouldn't we make him do it?
I mean, I guess we try to evaluate that on a case by case basis about where future development is and where your, pedestrian paths are likely going to go. But that is a valid point.
I'm okay with no sidewalk,
Yeah.
but I think of an instance not too long ago where we're making them put in, where,
New house and 133 before Robinson's.
but
There could be extension.
But that's more likely that there be an
I'm not
extension.
referring to that. I'm just
Yeah.
talking in general, but we made this one gentleman put a sidewalk in, or he's going to put one in, when he gets the house up.
Jeremy Kuiper.
Yeah.
141st.
141st.
That's central to town though. I mean, those are Bowerman and around the lake.
Yeah,
That's
that's- yes.
bike trails. I mean, this is going back to the trailer park there. It's a pretty wide path, winding path to nowhere. I mean, there's nowhere to.
Yeah, but there's no other sidewalks over there where he is either.
I mean, it
There could be, yeah.
could be. I mean, it's a policy discussion. Other municipalities have basically fee in lieu of. They essentially just put it into a pot, and then you can distribute it.
Don,
Depending, that'd be it. You'd have to extend on that policy, but
Don, the GIS,
huh? Oh, I know. I'm saying we don't have it, but other municipalities do.
Don, how far is the sidewalk to the west where it dead ends? The dead end by, can you zoom in on that?
So here's corner. If you go straight across, it's 400 feet. Exactly.
Yeah.
On someone else's property.
Well, yeah, and that's actually railroad right away through there. The public right away for some reason no longer extends through. This is all CSX again.
It's a sidewalk to walk down the tracks.
I guess the answer to your question, John, is it depends. But we as a board should have a set of parameters, that help us to say it depends. What does that mean, right? I think that's where you were going with your question. Why some, but not others? And I think it has a lot to do with main thoroughfares versus dead end cul-de-sacs, some of them.
The easiest way to legislate this is to require it and then go through the waiver process. That's why we have the Board of Zoning Appeals, for example, for all the various differences or needs for different standards are on a lot of or parcel basis. It's the same thing here on the plat. Really, and that's what John's recommendation was what it was, based upon the lay of the land, circumstances, presented, he didn't see an objection from the engineering perspective of acquiring a sidewalk. If you decide you do not want to grant the waiver, the sidewalk is mandatory. But
And he could
exercising the proper process for seeking the waiver.
If we were to deny his waiver for the sidewalk, he would then have the option to take it up with the building and zoning appeals.
No, this is it.
This is it. This is it. Okay.
Subdivision control ordinance exclusively in your jurisdiction. And no one else has town council, not DCA.
For them to decide.
That's for town engineer.
Okay. So the public sidewalk, the closest one's 400 feet away.
400 feet. Yes, sir.
How big is the roadway around that property, Michelle? Don, you got anything? Is that a 40-foot roadway?
You mean right away?
Right away, yes. Yes.
Prescribed?
Holy smokes. It's bigger than,
I mean, some
it's in that guy, it's in that guy's house.
We have 25 feet.
60
road,
feet.
Yeah, I thought it was.
60
It'll be
feet.
65.
And he gave.
It's prescribed on the one side.
And he gave an additional 5.
So now it'll be 65.
It's prescribed. I mean, when you come south, it's 40 again. So, which, I mean, that may go back to the history of 133rd coming through. That's why it's so wide.
I'm just not, personally, I just don't see how this would have even a 50-year benefit for that area.
I would make a motion whenever we're ready to not have them do the sidewalk since they were willing to give us that additional easement.
Approve the waiver request,
Just
John.
Approve the waiver request. Yeah, motion to approve. Let me look at the reading here. A motion to approve the preliminary plat for the one lot subdivision with the engineering waivers or the letter that the BZA sent.
No, that I said.
It's on.
Or Christopher Burke sent. Thank you. Dated July 15th.
That was an official motion, Mr.
That
Foreman?
was an official motion.
Okay. All right. We have a motion by Mr. Foreman. Do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Sharp. Roll call, please.
Heather Dessauer,
Yes.
Chuck Becker,
Yes.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
Richard Sharp,
Yes.
John Capora,
No.
Jerry Wilkie.
Yes. Motion carries. Yes, sir.
Any motion the planning commission may consider now should take into account the developmental variances that were approved by the BZA last year. Just recognize them as part of the plan.
Thank you, Mr. Austin. Okay, the second request by this petitioner for Yankee subdivision, Yonk's Way as it's called, requesting a final plat for a one-lot subdivision. And as Mr. Austin said, should include the,
One step ahead.
yeah, I am.
The waiver was just approved. The primary plat now needs to be considered and acted upon before you get to the final plat.
Oh, yes, you're right. Okay. Do we have a motion then? Anybody have any questions? I thought that was a preliminary
I
plat.
think that's the way John made.
Preliminary plat is what we just approved, David. No, I made a motion.
I thought what he said was he made the motion to waive everything Don recommended, including the sidewalk.
That's right. That's the distinct pre-approval to primary plat approval.
Okay.
Well, I don't see primary plat approval on here.
Preliminary.
Right, and I just made a motion and I read preliminary plat for a one-lot subdivision with the waivers per Don's letter dated July 15th. As a part of that motion for the preliminary plat for a one-lot.
Everybody clear on that?
Yes.
Yeah, everything. Sidewalks is not included. Everybody's clear? Bob, you clear? Heather, you clear?
Yes.
I'm clear.
Okay. All right, no sidewalks required. Okay. All right. Again, petitioner is requesting final plat for a one-lot subdivision. Should include the items and that the BZA approved. Anybody have any thoughts on that? Do you have any comments?
I actually have one to Mr. Austin's comment. I actually incorporated that into the final plat
It's in the plat. Yeah.
so that nobody gets in. It's all clear.
I like clear.
Yeah, I do too.
All right, Don, any comments on the one-lot subdivision final plat?
We have no comments on the final plat.
Okay. Glenn, have a seat real quick.
You don't need remonstrators.
I'm sorry. Oh, no remonstrator, sorry. Building department? Anything else, Tim, Michelle?
No, sir.
Everything?
Mr. Austin would like to say that we go for the signing of the final plat.
By 30 days must elapse. If you're taking this extraordinary step of approving the final plat tonight, under the law, there's a 30-day period for which remonstrators or those interested in this have legal rights. Hence, your approval tonight would be contingent upon the staff holding the Mylar for the 30-day period, thereafter processing and approving the plat, if so.
Okay. That's one of the new laws?
No.
It's been on the books
Okay.
forever.
The news, the notary stuff.
News, notary chaos.
It's just odd to have a preliminary and a final at the same time, but since it's a one-lot subdivision for a house,
Okay,
we're doing it. That's kind of what,
okay,
He doesn't have to come back.
right.
Yeah.
all
And
right.
they could get started on in 30 days.
Any other discussion, commission? Chuck, Heather?
No, again, I think like Heather mentioned, I think it's good to see people building proper size lots.
Heather, you're good?
I'm good, yes.
Bob, you good?
Yeah.
Chuck?
Good.
Mr. Kapoor?
Yes.
Good? I'm
Yes.
good. Mr. Sharp's good? Everybody's good. Okay. Would anyone like to make a motion?
I would like to make a motion in favor of final plat for one lot subdivision, contingent on with the BZA's developmental variances that were given, as well as a 30-day delay for our building department staff to hold the Mylar in the event any remonstrators come forth.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Foreman. Mr. Becker would like to second that. Roll call, please.
Heather Dessauer,
Yes.
Chuck Becker,
Yes.
John Foreman,
Yes.
Robert Carnahan,
Yes.
Richard Sharp,
Yes.
John Capora,
Yes.
Jerry Wilkie,
Yes. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thanks, Glenn. Next item, Beacon Point Unit 1A Performance Letter of Credit that expires August 5th, 2020. Performance letter of credit is in the amount of $63,022.93 to be converted to a maintenance letter of credit. I'm going to skip around. Don, are you good with this?
I am. Everything's in order. The maintenance letter of credit will be posted for a period of 3 years and be in the amount of $25,209.17.
Okay. Petitioner.
Jack Halls with DVG, representing the petitioner Beacon Point of Cedar Lake LLC. Beacon Point Unit 1A is a small lot that is on the far east side of the project. It's about 8 lots. I think it's 8 lots between Unit 1 and Unit 2. It was kind of at the end of the season. They wanted to get a couple more lots in, so they platted that lot. It's been in for a while, and they're converting from a performance bond to their 3-year maintenance bond. They've done paving in there, and so I believe everything's in order. We agree with the letter of credit number, and we'll have that to Michelle prior to the expiration of the performance bond.
Okay. Mr. Roshan, anything? Everything? You said you're good, Don?
I am.
You're good? Don's letter also stated, dated July 7th, that if the board decides to vote on pulling the letter of credit, it should be no later than July 30th. I'm not seeing that that's going to need to be the case, correct?
Michelle's letter said that, that's on my summaries.
Yeah.
That I stated, and we need that amount of time in case to be able to make sure that we can fulfill the process if we need to. Clearly, we won't need that, and I really hope that we don't, but this is the last public meeting, so it has to be voted on at this meeting.
Just in case.
To convert this to the maintenance letter of credit. Call it.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Building department, anything else? Mr. Carnahan?
What was the amount of money the letter of credit's going to be for?
The maintenance letter of credit was going to be what, Don? 25,000?
$25,209.17.
Thank you.
Heather, any concerns?
No, sir.
Mr. Sharp, Mr. Foreman, you good?
No.
Good. Mr. Becker, good. Mr. Kapoor is good.
Good.
All right. Would anyone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion in favor of converting the maintenance letter of credit, converting to the maintenance letter of credit for the amount of $25,209.17.
We have a motion by Mr. Foreman,
I'll second it.
second by Mr. Kapora. Roll call, please.
Heather Dessauer,
Yes.
Chuck Becker,
Yes.
Jerry Wilkie,
Yes.
John Capora,
Yes.
Richard Sharp,
Yes.
John Foreman,
Yes. Right there.
There's a whole bunch of typos right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what that's sort of.
That should be Robert Carnahan.
Sorry about that, Bob.
I get you and Greg confused all the time.
You guys look alike, though. Bob.
Robert Carnahan.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Motion
In that
carries.
motion, was there a time?
I would say, yeah, by, what was your date?
July 30th.
That was not included in the motion.
That was not, it was not a date.
Amend
I would
it,
amend my motion to allow for that date.
and if it's not provided, to pull on it.
And if it's not provided, to pull on it. Sorry about that.
Okay, the motion's been amended,
I'll still second it.
and Mr. Kapoor will still second it as is. Roll call again.
Heather Dussauer.
Yes.
Chuck Becker.
Yes.
Jerry Wilkening.
Yes.
John Capora.
Yes.
Richard Sharp.
Yeah.
Yes.
John Foreman.
Yes.
Robert Carnahan.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries unanimously. Next item, Beacon Point Unit 2 Performance Letter of Credit expires August 6th, 2020. Performance letter of credit currently is in the amount of $421,567.05. Petitioner is requesting it be converted to a maintenance letter of credit. It would be the amount of what, Don?
So it'd be $151,452.32.
That was $151,450.
52.
$452.32.
Okay, I got it.
Okay, Mr. Ashen, everything's good with this? All right. Petitioner?
Jack
any-
Halls
any
from
thoughts?
DVG team representing the petitioner, Beacon Point of Cedar Lake LLC. Unit 2 of this project is Liberty, lying north. For the most part, Unit 3 is also lies north. Unit 2, again, has been completed for some time. We were able to do the final paving, and so we would like to request converting our performance bond to a maintenance bond.
Okay. Building Department?
I would suggest if a date is given, it should be July 3rd, August 3rd. But again, this one will be done. And
It'll be done by the same, yes, it'll be done at the same time.
So August 3rd is the
Drop
the
dead
date,
full date.
drop dead date. Okay. All right. Don, any other comments?
No, sir.
Okay. Mr. Becker?
Nope.
Mr. Kapora?
Good.
Sharp?
Good.
Good. Mr. Foreman?
Nope, no worries there.
No worries there. Okay. Heather, Bob, any thoughts?
I'm
No.
good.
Okay, thank you. Anyone like to make, would anybody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we grant the performance letter of credit to a maintenance bond in the amount of $151,452.32. And if the work is not completed by August 3rd, we should pull the
letter of credit.
Full letter of
letter of
credit.
credit.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Kapora. Do we have a second? Mr. Becker will second it. Roll call, please.
Heather Dussauer.
Yes.
Chuck Becker.
Yes.
Jerry Wilkening.
Yes.
John Capora.
Yes.
Richard Sharp.
Yes.
John Foreman.
Yes.
Robert Carnahan.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously. Item number 5, Beacon Point Unit 3 Performance Letter of Credit that expires May 13th, 2021. Petitioner is requesting letter of credit in the amount of $516,742.99 to be renewed. Mr. Hulls, any comments?
This unit is the piece lying in between the cyan there on the map, lying north of Liberty. We are requesting a deferral on this item until the August agenda.
Both
We-
of them, right?
yeah.
Both these next two.
Yeah, you can handle them together if you want. Both Unit 3 and Unit 4. We
Okay.
still have some as-built items to take care of, and so we're requesting a deferral until
Okay.
the August meeting.
All right. Mr. Austin, any problem with deferrals? Okay.
Can we
Don?
do them both at the same time?
Do you need a vote? I don't think, do you actually need a vote for them? Do you actually need a vote? They're not an
For the
application item.
deferral, I don't, it's a letter of credit, it's not. That's fine.
Okay,
Just trying to get through them quicker.
the petitioner has also implied that perhaps we can, item number 6, Beacon Point Unit 4 Performance Letter of Credit that expires October 1st, with the letter of credit amount of $1,073,867.87 to be reduced. Both of these items, he's requesting a deferral. Does anyone have any concerns or issues
I would
with
make a
that?
motion to that effect that you just stated for both items.
Anybody have any?
Or deferral.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Foreman, second by Mr. Kapora. Roll call, please.
Heather Dessau.
Question.
Yeah,
When do these expire?
Next year.
the first item, Bob, is May 13th. That's the 516,000,
2021, Okay,
2021. Item
in
number,
October.
yeah, October 1st for the 1,073,000.
We got lots of time.
All right, I caught that.
Okay. You good, Bob?
Yes.
Okay. All right, we have a motion by Mr. Foreman, second by Mr. Kapora. Roll call, please.
Heather Dessauer.
Yes.
Chuck Becker. Jerry Wilkening.
Yes.
John Kapura.
Yes.
Richard Sharp.
Yes.
John Foreman.
Yes.
Robert Carnahan.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Next item, number 7 under new business, Centennial Phase 8, maintenance letter of credit that expires August 8th, 2020. The letter of credit amount is $41,579.89. Hello, Jeff.
Hello, Jeff Yatsko, Old Tough Homes. We do have Don's inspection letter and Public Works from 8 and 9 for the next one. We're working on those fixes right now. So we'll get those re-inspected here probably next week, and we should have everything on the punch list taken care of.
Okay, is there a drop dead date for this? Don?
There you go.
August 4th.
So same thing. You can make a motion to pull on them. We should have everything done by then, and then they'll just expire on their own since this is maintenance.
Okay. Mr. Austin, you good? Okay. Heather, Bob, you have any thoughts?
No.
I'm good.
Good, okay. All right, would anyone like to, we're going to vote on both of these items. Phase 8, letter of credit for $41,579.89, and Centennial Phase 9, maintenance letter of credit in the amount of $19,496.09 with a drop dead date of August 4th. Anybody like to make a motion?
All it is for the call date.
Huh?
All it is for the call date.
Okay. Okay, with the call date of August 4th. Anybody have, like to make a motion?
So moved.
Got a motion by Mr. Becker.
Second.
Second by Mr. Sharp. Roll call, please.
Heather Dessauer.
Yes.
Chuck Becker.
Yes.
Jerry Wilkening.
Yes.
John Kapura.
Yes.
Richard Sharp.
Yes.
John Foreman.
Yes.
Robert Carnahan.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item number 9, Summer Winds Unit 1 Performance Letter of Credit that expires August 15th, 2020. The letter of credit in the amount of $244,187.85 is requested to be renewed. Hello, petitioner.
Jack Halls, I'm here from DBG on behalf of the petitioner, Summer Winds Development. I believe this item, there was a renewal already sent to the town on this matter. So
So another contingent hold.
is it, I don't know if it's an item that needs to be voted on or how you were going to handle it, but there's the
Yes,
letter
it
of
does.
credit is it?
It has to be voted on.
Oh, for renewal. Yeah, okay.
With the date of August 11th.
Is that August 11th, 2020?
Yes, sir.
Hmm?
It expires on August 15th.
So if it's not, she's saying if it's not presented to you and approved by the 11th, then they're going to pull on it. So she wants that in the motion.
Yeah, again, this one, we already have, David has looked at it a couple times, we'll just wait for that final review and then we can hard copy it.
Yeah.
So it's another contingent pull
Absolutely just for.
to be able to do it.
Call David.
Okay.
So another contingent pull. I'm gonna call it that.
How long would it be renewed for?
1 year.
1 year.
Yeah,
1 year.
performance only goes for a year.
So it'll be August 15th of
21.
2021.
So Don's good, the building department's good, and Mr. Austin's good. Heather, Bob, you good?
Yes.
I'm good.
Okay. Everybody else up here good? Okay. Anybody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we grant the petitioner's request to extend this letter of credit for 1 year to August 15th, 2021. If this extension is not approved, the call date will be August 11th, 2020.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Kapora. Do we have a second? Second by Mr. Becker. Roll call, please.
Heather Dessauer,
Yes.
Chuck Becker. Jerry Wilkie.
Yes.
Sean Capora,
Yes.
Richard Sharp.
Yes.
John Foreman.
Yes.
Robert Carnahan.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jack. All right, this is new business. Item number 10. This is a concept plan from Patera. The owner is Philip Novak. Address is 4 Cherry Hills Drive, Pekin, Illinois. Petitioner is Nick Patera, 624 Grove Street, Evanston, Illinois. The vicinity is 13020 Wicker Avenue, Cedar Lake, Indiana, 46303. Petitioner is requesting a concept plan. Hello.
Hi, I wanted to, I'm getting dry.
Could you give your name and address, please?
Yeah, my name is Philip Novak, 4 Cherry Hills Drive, Pekin, Illinois.
Okay.
And I just want to introduce myself first. I've been around here a few years. I married Karen McIntyre 37 years ago, and the McIntyre family's owned this property since the 70s. My father-in-law, Sam McIntyre, was one of the largest employers in Cedar Lake when he had Melody Oaks. So Sam wanted to do a development in Cedar Lake that would really make a difference. The family worked with the Redevelopment Commission and people such as Geraldine Cordycraft to begin this process. Multiple things almost happened, including a major development in 2008. But unfortunately, everything fell apart in 2009 when there was a significant collapse in this economy. Since then, there's been interest, but it's been for small parcel development. And I really wanted to honor my father-in-law's commitment and Geraldine's wishes and that to try to, really make something happen on this site that was significant. So guided by a friend of mine, Steve Craig, who's a major nationwide developer for the past 30 years, we looked at a vision for a mixed use of this property, which will be desirable now and more importantly, be very desirable in the future. I've talked with residents. There's been questions over the years. One of the big ones was because of this property where its location was wetlands. I made sure that I contacted the Corps of Engineers and received a letter saying that no action was required as far as wetlands and doing any development on this property. And wanted to let you know that I have an intent to try to preserve the natural beauty and maturity of the site and utilizing where possible natural vegetation to isolate retail from residential development. And I'm looking forward to developing a community trail in the center of the property and trying to make a very desirable place to live on the west side and a destination spot. But I need your help. And so that's what I'm here for, is to request your help Nick here is from Tesca and Associates, and let him present our initial thoughts.
Thanks. Bill. Thank you very much. Nice to have this opportunity to talk to you this evening. And we're looking forward to getting your comments, support, thoughts as we go forward. We didn't want to get too far ahead of ourselves without the background and knowledge that we would gain from talking to the town and getting your commission's comments. The property is about 38 acres in total. One of the things that we look at, and my background as a land planner goes back 40 years. I'm a partner and owner of Tesca Associates located in Evanston, and we do quite a bit in the vicinity here in the western Indiana, as well as Illinois, Wisconsin, and Michigan. This opportunity is on a 38-acre site. What we really look at is what's the natural characteristic of the property. Mr. Novak had already explained some of the background from his family's point of view. The property is, some people who have been around here at the time, was a Christmas tree farm. There's little corridors through there still that you can see quad runners maybe finding out through the property. There's actually a 20-foot grade change on this property. You wouldn't know it without looking internally to the property, but at the southeast side of the property, there's a little bit of a knoll. It's a pretty interesting piece of ground. Not quite square. There's about 1,000 feet of frontage on Wicker and about 1,200 or 1,400 feet of frontage on 129th. So we end up having a corner site with a high degree of frontage. From a land planning point of view, one of the intriguing things to me was that the middle is high and the edges are low. The natural way the stormwater is running on this property doesn't always happen like this, but to the west, on the northwest corner and the southwest corner, that's where our natural drainage begins to gather and then run off site. So what you'll see on the land plan is that we're recognizing the natural topography and trying to work with the land and with the existing trees as much as possible. There's another element through the middle of the property, not quite the middle, but parallel to Wicker. There's an existing sewer that was put in some years ago. We've gotten a general dimension of 311 feet. Thank you, Cedar Lake, for helping us with that. But that's something we're respecting and staying clear of, which is an existing sewer main that's running from south to north through the middle of the property. And the background of the property, besides being a corner site, we also have shown a set aside for Department of Transportation along Wicker Drive. The west side of Wicker 41 has a 100-foot set aside that we're respecting, anticipating that potential widening or road improvements to happen at some point in the future. So we're not crowding that. As far as the land plan itself, what we've really looked at is a land plan that is a planned development. It's a degree of open space around the perimeter, and to set aside the stormwater, as I had mentioned, comes first and foremost. And then secondly is to frame the property with the setback and create a planned unit development. The idea is to have a layering or transitioning as the property runs from east to west. The frontage along Wicker would have the more commercial aspect, and you'll see that we've got some corner and retail or commercial type developments happening with potential curb cuts along Wicker at 3 locations. And staying away from the 129th corner, but we have 1, 2, and a 3rd location. This would be, of course, dependent upon DOT approval because 41 Wicker is their jurisdiction. Along 129th, as we go from the frontage, anywhere from 300 to 400 feet back, or 300 feet back from Wicker with the commercial use, and what you're seeing is a transition of land use from commercial to moderate density to lower density as we go from east to west. The idea of having the entrance points into the commercial, there could be a second entrance that feeds the residential loop, but the primary entrance, we really wanted to segregate the residential from the commercial and not have to force people to drive through a commercial development to get to their homes, to their residential, but to make it accessible if it was convenient. The idea of having a residential loop off of 129th with the first 5 homes was potentially one of our earlier phases that we've thought about. These are 8 different parcels that we're showing you here tonight. And then the farthest west entrance off of 129th would feed the residential loop, which contains then the 5 more of the rental apartment idea. These are 6-unit buildings. As this goes then into duplex, what we're doing is making sure that the single family along the east side isn't abutting anything of higher density. You're seeing that transition work. The center open space is about 250 feet wide. And then the buffer between the commercial and the back end and the residential is about 50 feet wide, just to give you a sense of scale. That's a general overview. The low points, again, southwest and northwest are in the natural low spots. There could be another natural low. What we're really trying to do is to control stormwater runoff and volume so it retains stormwater in consideration of the neighboring properties. So that's a pretty good overview at this point. The overall density is something that we can talk about. And lastly, the predominant element here is open space with the entrance and the walkways and the center core of the property, trying to offer the residents and the visitors that would come to this property almost like a park-like experience. That would be part of a HOA, homeowners association, privately managed but publicly accessible. So, and that would also have a walking trail. The yellow dashed lines that you see on your plans would connect up to the corner commercial. Lastly, one of the things that we really wanted to discuss tonight was the idea of not just occupying the corner at 129th and Wicker, to leave an open space as an opportunity. Right now, there's a gateway sign to Cedar Lake on the property. If that's collective use that could work with a kind of an open gateway feature, an amenity at that corner, rather than just putting a building there, I think we have some vitality and some excitement built into this plan on all sides. So I'm happy to hear your thoughts and comments. We're looking forward to getting your support from this point. We would go through further refinements and look to see how we can partner with prospective users of the property.
Okay.
Yes.
Hang on, Bob. Hang on, Bob. I just want to thank you for bringing something here that's quite comprehensive and nicely done like this. There's something on my mind right now I wish I had a drawing like this for. But before I go to questions, I want to thank you for this.
I take compliments. Thank you.
Don, the commercial property, how much lower is that than 41?
The commercial property?
Yeah. Isn't there an elevation change there? I'm just curious.
No, I mean, yes, it drops quite a bit from the south portion to the north portion, about 7 feet, but
okay,
coming across, it's relatively even.
Okay. All right. Mr. Carnahan, any questions right now?
First of all, that property floods and goes across 129th Avenue, and we have been dealing with Wicker Meadows with all kinds of complaints. So we'll have to do something to stop that water from coming across the street.
I think
John Foreman, do you realize that they're requesting 78 rental apartments on this?
Yeah, I can read.
Okay,
Actually-
I just wanted to make sure you got that because John's been complaining that we have too many apartments in Cedar Lake, and I think the figure you mentioned a little earlier was 30%. Correct?
Yeah, I got you, Bob. I did a little math too, and I come up with 541 addresses, all coming out on 129th. So, Heather, any thoughts immediately?
I mean, the apartments concern me, obviously.
Okay, all right. Mr. Becker. Okay, Mr. Kapora.
Couple of things. One, I definitely don't like the apartments. Two, if this gets built, there's a lot of traffic coming out onto 41. It looks like it'll all be coming off 129th. There's no traffic control right there. The other thing is all these businesses, you list a pub, a bank, I don't know what all.
Generally, that's the idea, but then it's not specific, but please go ahead.
But my point is that all this traffic has to turn in and out onto 41. And there's no traffic control again there, you know, for these cars to get out, and 41 can get pretty busy.
And that would likely make
hang
it a
on.
right in, right out for both of those. And then it may even get to the point of density enough where they would finally warrant a signal at 129.
Well, I think John's point is right now, there's nothing there.
I think that's the way they would evaluate it though.
Okay.
The two
Hang on,
ingress
Bob.
egress points off of the commercial, they would likely do a right in, right out. And then they would likely potentially require a signal at 129th now.
Okay. Mr. Sharp, any thoughts immediately?
No, I'd like to say what you said, Jerry. This is very professionally presented. And I echo what John and everybody else has been saying, that if you could change the duplexes, move those to the apartments, and then do away with the apartments, I mean, I think might work that way.
Mr. Foreman?
Yeah, I'd like to say, first of all, Pekin, Illinois, south of Peoria, right?
Yes.
Is that where you live?
That's where I live.
Oh,
now. My
okay.
wife is from Highland. Like I said, my father-in-law is.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, my boys were born in Evanston, so I lived up
It's-
that way for quite some time.
It's still there.
My heartburn isn't apartments. My heartburn is multi-family. So my first question is for Michelle. Michelle, what is this property zone today? It's all B2? Okay. That, by no fault of your guys's, our community has had since 2007, an approval of multiple multifamily lots. We've taken a lot of R1 and converted it to multifamily. We've taken a lot of ag, converted it to multifamily. Some R2s become multifamily. And then the recession hit, so that it kind of just got somewhat forgotten about. So as the economy improved in 13, 14, 15, these folks that received approvals pre-2007 came out of the woodwork like crazy and started building all these duplexes and all these townhomes, and we found ourselves with our hands tied behind our backs, because there's not much we can do once a zoning is given, okay? We didn't have any contingencies for those zonings to be canceled or end if they don't do it within a certain period of time. You just give carte blanche zoning in years past. So it's got nothing to do with rentals. It's got everything to do with the land use, and we are somewhat disproportionate. I personally feel, and perhaps some of these folks up here feel, with our statistics today. I do also recognize that these newer generations like to sit in their houses and play with their phones and not go outside and so on and so forth. And I also recognize that professional developers like you guys, as well as some of these other folks that we deal with, do come in here and talk about land use and density and per acre and this, that, and another. I do like the commercial. My 2 cents is I like the commercial. I think it would be kind of cool to have some commercial down maybe even 129th. And maybe mix that into some single family homes. I think it's a hot area. I think it's a beautiful area. The surrounding area is another concern. We do not have, we mostly have single family homes with decent sized lots around that. So I like to see similar land uses. Now, granted, it's your land. It's you can start with asking for whatever, but those are some of my initial thoughts, having glanced at this a couple days ago and then more recently read through it. So, other than that, that's about all I have to say.
Other comment I wanted to make too is that we have quite a few projects going on right now. 1,500, 2,000 homes to be built. I would like to see a large percentage of those built out before we start approving more subdivisions, more homes, more whatever. Commercial, fine, I don't have any problem with that going, but we've got problems with schools and roads and what have you. And so I'd like to see majority of what we have on the books now get built out before we start approving them.
Okay. I think the other thing that I wanted to mention was, correct me if I'm wrong, Don, Tim, anytime. That stormwater that travels across that property that heads north is of significance. And because it comes all the way from 131st.
Almost the Walgreens makes its way all the way up to that area.
Yeah. Yeah. So this would be this might be a bigger stormwater task than you know, but okay. Well, you heard everybody's thoughts on the multifamily, and again, that's 540 plus cars coming out on 129th. At least twice that many cars.
There would potentially be a secondary entrance. I heard your comments about either right in and right out on 41 Wicker. But, having a secondary means of access to disperse traffic is very much a part of good traffic engineering. So these are worthwhile comments. Thank you.
And in 2022, NDOT is going to put a center lane on US 41 for turn lane. And then I've also talked to the state about trying to get a light put in there, but right now they say the numbers don't justify that. But this might help the numbers.
Heather, any other thoughts?
No, not at this time.
Okay. All right.
Can I ask, just if you don't mind, what we really would like to try and do is to make sure, first of all, that we're not looking at this property, and you already eyed this, that we're not looking at this property kind of like piecemeal. It's not just like, okay, we've got a corner lot user, we could sell that off to somebody, and then bite by bite, we're going to be trying to, piece it together. And so to wait until 1,500 units come along, it is important that we look at this holistically overall. The other thought here is to try on the property, so it's not just going to be one monoculture of residential big lot that's just going to compete with everything, all the 1,500 others that you have here. So I think that was kind of the coordinated bite-sized pieces that all fit together. So that will likely be how we pursue this, and not end up just having a homogeneous one product type on the entire 38 acres, commercial front and all the same on the back. So I thank you for your thoughts.
Yeah, I would just add to your comments that we don't have 1,500 residents on any large lots. So that's a very large problem. It's mostly multifamily, and also we this new term, when you split a duplex in half, they call it a cottage home. Okay, so it's still a little home. It's still a little home on a little lot with a neighbor right next door. So what you end up with is it's a vast density. But Cedar Lake in many ways is a very new town, but we're very old. We've only been incorporated since 1972, or 1970 officially. The town was formed in 67, but it went through some legal matters, okay?
Mhm.
Prior to that, many people from Chicago came out here and did what they did with the lake and made it a tourist attraction, right? In the early part of the time. And then a lot of these cottages that were built on no foundations, or they were literally cottages, became year-round residents after World War II. And we've had all kinds of issues with the lake, this, that, and another. So not even counting on the new multifamily, everything we have on these meets and bounds parcels are itty-bitty houses on 25-foot lots. But again, no fault of your guys'. So we don't even have those into our calculations. So we know we're opportunity lifetime is lifetime of the opportunity. We know that Chicago's coming south. We know that we could be one of those nice Chicago suburbs or not, based on some decision-making processes we're going through today. So we're trying to control, and say kind of enough is enough on the multifamily, so on and so forth. But I think if you came back with something maybe a little bit more commercial, and perhaps had some single family in the back side. I mean, you are on US 41, so the convenience factor is there. And we don't have a whole lot of, larger lot subdivisions anywhere except maybe Lakeside that comes to mind, or maybe there's some.
Yeah, I went by
lots
that
in
this
new subdivision
afternoon.
off of 41, but
Mhm.
I think the timing is what it is, and the schools are going through what they're going through, and the towns and the school districts can't always hold hands. You're always going to be going back and forth on that subject matter, but based on where we're at geographically located, we will see additional growth. That's great land. You guys have awesome piece of property there.
One of the things I did was, with my development, is I asked about the multifamily, and I was like, can there be a multifamily that you go, wow? And I got drawings of it. There can be. Oh yeah. and so I mean, it's
I'm with you.
yeah. And so that idea that all multifamily are bad. There's a lot of cheap apartments that things just go downhill.
Sure.
But I don't know how many are members of strong homeowners associations, and how many are,
Sure. Well taken.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Thank you for your advice, and we'll take this all into consideration. We're looking still to try and create something that's not going to be a replica of other communities, developments that are on the market already. We really want to distinguish ourselves and do something special here, and it's going to take a little bit of risk and ingenuity on both sides. We're trying to hit the market in a way that is appealing to buyers and users, so it doesn't end up just being one more of the same. That we're going to try and look into something that's creative as far as the marketing of this. So that's why I don't mean to come here and debate. I came here to listen, but I just wanted to let you know that is where we're coming from.
Very good. Yeah, and you can copy and paste what's happening down the US 41 corridor, and of course the hotel chains are taking it on the chin right now from a development standpoint. I'm sure, because they're all sitting empty today. But we are a resort, somewhat of a resort community. We're a bedroom community. We do not have very much industry in our community to pull tax revenues off of. We don't have any, medium-sized box, let alone big box. Our tax base is primarily residential. And so this is a nice piece of commercial property. It sure would be nice, I think, to, and another thing you guys might want to consider is maybe light business park or something. I mean, Illinois, the Ileana Expressway perhaps will come, connecting 65 to 57 to 55. And think about as Ross Perot said years ago, the sucking sound that will come from Illinois into Indiana then.
It's happening.
So, it's all timing, of course, and that state is broke. You live there, your taxes are nuts. But, yeah, me too, right? It makes the commute to everywhere a lot better and safer, because how many more people need to die in the Foreman? But there's other people that would fight me on that have houses out in West Creek. But I think it'll come, and I think this parcel being on a US 41 corridor, it just beckons more business or professional or somewhat commercial, I feel.
There wouldn't be more money in it if it was all commercial. I mean, I'm just thinking out loud here.
It's a good question. I don't know if I have a straight up answer.
Okay, I'm just wondering, you have all this property. I mean, I hate to say industrial park, but like John mentioned,
Yeah, I'm not in this business.
One of the things that we really kind of pulled the reins in on was being careful with retail. Like you said, hotels, they're having a really tough time. I've pulled the plug on many hotel plans that we've come forward with, and likewise, retail has to be something special. That corner can be something special. That we have the two users at the corner, and then to try and get some diversity, and again, not to try and replicate the same thing that's up and down 41, is do something that's unique to this market and to this site. So I'm kind of digging my heels in a little bit on how much retail can we support, and to go back into the property, I start getting pretty shy about that. It's going to have cobwebs and tumbleweeds growing, so I don't want to see that.
Yeah, for sure.
What size are your single family lots?
They're the smallest. The single family lots are compact. They're 50 by 100. They're 5,000 square feet.
Is that your bird, Bob?
No, that was me.
Okay. Yeah.
So
It's
the idea
in the notes here
of large lot single family is not really something that we're trying to pursue here. That's not what you're seeing on purpose, is that we're not trying to do spend your Saturday mowing the lawn and cleaning the gutters kind of residential lots on this, but to try and have enough open space, common area, walkways, and accessibility to the commercial, that you've got something different. So it is asking you to kind of look at this a little differently than saying it's the half acre, 1 acre American dream lot. This is going to be something that has a little bit more different character to it.
And how big is the house going to be?
Then you've got a 2 or 3 bedroom house. Primary living is on the ground floor, and second and third bedroom can be on the second floor.
But how much square footage?
Square footage, you bring somewhere in the 2,000 square feet. We're not talking 6,000 or 8,000 square feet anymore. Nobody's buying them.
So it would be a
They're sure building a lot of them in Crown Point.
Somebody
What's that covers figure out to?
They would need variances from the get-go.
Right, this would be a planned development with zoning with variances.
Yeah, that doesn't meet any of the.
Yeah.
Our R2 is 80 or 100.
Yeah, I could get at least 35, 40.
R2 is 90, right? Today, we're thinking of changing it down to 80.
That's your lot width you're referring to?
Yeah, with lot, the front.
But your side
front
yard
yard.
setbacks are 8 feet, your front yard setbacks 30 feet, your rear is 25%. Like, you would need variances for all of them.
We're not etched in stone yet,
Yeah,
but
fair enough.
so
It was nice meeting you guys, though.
I
appreciate you.
just want to reiterate what I kind of see happening around here. This area is kind of begging for some more light commercial and having some nice retail in the front. I think this is a great idea, but I think there's an opportunity back here. We have properties up and down 41 that are tight. A lot of
for
traffic.
commercial, you're saying?
Commercial property that's
Mhm.
that's really tight. Just to the north, for example, you can't get any tighter than C&L Vending. Just for example.
Have you heard anything on US 41? I said on the east side of it, I said going up and down where they've expanded US 41, they've gone up to 85 feet off the center line, 86 feet. And I don't know what happens to the east side of US 41 if they try to,
Yeah. There's always rumors flying around town about all kinds of things, but until it gets here and we can actually look at it, which is what you presented here is fantastic. I mean, this is not a crayon drawing. It's not even close.
We start with crayons.
I appreciate it.
You have bar napkins.
Thank you all very much.
Okay,
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
thanks. Thanks.
Safe travels.
Thank you.
Okay. We have one update item. Lakeside Unit 2 preliminary plat extension expires 9/18/20.
So they're on for August.
They're on for August. Okay. All right. I just had two. Are you coming up, Jack?
Nope.
Oh, you're good. Okay. This Mr. Foreman, you said you saw last week. How did you get this last week?
Well, the packet today. I guess I didn't see it.
Okay.
You mean the thing
the
that
new-
Bob
the-
mentioned?
No, I mean, you said I saw that. I
Well-
saw this last week.
No, just, it's in the packet. I
Okay.
did say it last week.
All right.
That was it.
Um,
Misspoke.
Have you seen anything nice like this? For anything else that's gonna become before us?
Starts with the letter Y. No, I haven't.
You've seen nothing.
Crayon drawing that we saw at the plant.
That's all you've seen.
But Coach Kinsel told me he saw some engineer drawings at golf on Monday night. So
Okay.
I have personally not seen anything. The
Okay.
one iota since the crayon drawing
Okay.
that I took a look at a long time ago, about a month ago or so. And then
I sent that through again, so it was less than a month ago.
Oh,
Okay. All right.
Yep.
I guess. Chuck? No? Oh, yeah, public comment, sorry.
Before you go to there, I'd like to make another comment that commercial property, we get 3% tax on them. And agriculture and rentals, we get 2%. But if we get more commercial in there, that reduces a residential tax rate of 1%. So we need to get more commercial here in the town.
Yeah, I think the whole area begs for a little more commercial property. I agree with you, Bob. I also agree with most of what John has said. Heather, any thoughts?
No, I'm with you. I agree on what Bob and John said.
Okay, all right. Tim, any immediate thoughts on this item or anything else?
No, I guess I'm not as in touch with the plan as everybody else, but I'd like to see the parking areas and the actual buildings that are being proposed.
Well,
Some of the
I
captions is,
yeah.
shows
Well, is this?
apartment with a garage and a parking space.
Yeah, this is conceptual. I know you've already designed half of it in your head. So,
I mean, it'd be nice to see some of these, what they're actually proposing. I guess, 'cause,
yeah.
I mean, some of that stuff sounds like an apartment with a garage and
Yeah, it says one car, it says apartments, one car garage, parking on the curb, parking over here, yeah.
it would just be interesting to see that.
Like,
concept
you mean a product?
product.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, just other than saying absolutely no apartments, that might be. I mean, there is a lot of single, I mean, I don't know. Without seeing
Yeah.
more substantial, you can obviously see on this picture, all the green space that is shown, there's gonna be a lot of black and yellow or black and white stripes. in those green
Yeah, there's a lot of,
to make this function.
yeah, there's a lot of green there. Yeah. Michelle, anything at all?
I agree
Nothing.
with that for everything.
Okay. Don?
Stormwater is going to be, I
Challenge.
think, more of a challenge than they think.
I totally agree with you.
I think they're short on their diagrams of what they're showing right now for detention. by
They
like
probably could build,
30%.
a lake back there.
I think they're short by about 30%. And that's with our current ordinance is going to change probably in the winter, which is going to go up. So they're going to be even shorter. So
Okay.
NDOT's going to be, they're going to have their own concerns with it. And then I would urge you to look at your comp plan to see how this jives with it on the corridor.
Okay. All right, Mr. Sharp? Nothing at all? Okay. John Kapora, any thoughts? Anything at all?
Well, I like to see bigger lots, and
Yeah.
I'd like to see them lose the apartments. I don't
Yeah.
care how nice you build them, they're still apartments.
Well, it's
Yeah.
540 plus addresses times 2 cars.
And
So that's a,
and the
that's,
lot that they have now, if they put a 2,100 square foot house on it, that's 42% coverage.
yeah. You know, if you leave 129th and you can only go right, which is south,
That's a good thing.
that's a huge thing.
That's-
I mean, most people go north
Yeah.
to go to work or so. Okay, Mr. Becker.
Yeah, so we have way too much multifamily. I mean, we need to start considering all these cottage homes or multifamily duplexes, whatever. What's gonna happen in 20 years when they need a new roof? One side wants to get a new roof, the other side doesn't. So
Yeah.
they're gonna have what, mismatched shingles?
Well, that's
I
why,
mean,
that's
we
what,
see a lot of this in other towns.
well,
I
that's,
see it going to work all the time.
that's why the HOA covenants are so important.
But then again, in the future, who holds the HOA responsible? I mean, pretty soon, people are tired of HOAs.
Yeah, I
Who's
understand.
gonna step up and be HOA to enforce things? Because the people they don't get paid to do it.
Yeah.
I'm on the HOA on my subdivision. I don't get paid to do it.
I understand.
I mean, we're gonna start running into more problems, get more of these multifamily houses, and then we keep relying on HOAs to solve
Yeah, the-
police,
yeah.
the enforcement, and they ain't gonna happen.
Well, the legacy of all these kind of things are certainly a concern. Okay, Mr. Austin, any last thoughts?
The deed is recorded for the alleyway on the east side of Lincoln Plaza.
Excellent. So what's left there?
They connect. They're not abutting, but they do connect. And that'll be a consideration when the 10 building comes in for final. Yeah,
Okay.
It actually is good.
Yeah.
We finally got a good legal. Glenn Bourne did it. And it passed muster at the county and been recorded. So all the way
Excellent.
through, it
Excellent.
connects. It isn't lined up here. The two parcels they own were offset, but they connect. And we own those other pieces, and Dick owns the piece by his building.
Oh, the trustee owns,
I thought the
right?
trustee owned.
Oh, is it the trustee?
Yeah.
Government owns
It feels like we own it, but it's the
Trustee.
trustee.
it. Government owns it.
Right.
Yeah.
And they would sign theirs off, they'll sign off on theirs too.
Yeah, they'll give it to us, I'm sure.
They said they will, so.
Anyway, you'll-
Something else for the plow list?
That'll be in your, in the mail here for you.
Something else to plow? All right, well,
I got a question.
yes, Chuck.
What's going on with Mr. Carey subdivision off 136th Avenue?
Don, any thoughts on Mr. Carey subdivision?
Specific to,
Because it's still flooding over there. I noticed they still got the burlap or whatever, the orange things in the drainage,
yeah.
and it's just puddling. And it's not
Well,
allowing any water to go down the drains.
that goes back to your final coat of asphalt issue. There's
every
an
time
inch,
it
there's
rains,
an
it's
inch
just
and a half.
gonna keep
Yeah,
overflowing?
well, there's an inch and a half lip from binder up to where those drains are. So
It
it
never
goes
gets
back
in
to
the
that.
drain.
Well, no,
Yeah.
it's, the drains are underwater. You got that orange.
Oh, they probably never took
They're
the,
inlet protections. Yeah, we just
Right.
completed another MS4 inspection on Tuesday, where he's being informed again that he needs to maintain the site a little bit better than he is,
Is that,
as in soil erosion control.
is it,
Yeah,
Is that-
baskets are full.
the,
Plus, they can bypass. There's a bypass on those baskets.
but the,
They're
but,
just not
but the,
great when they're
but the,
not full.
but the erosion in the ponds, that's gotta be addressed also?
Everything needs to be addressed. No, he's it's not the best kept site. He's gotten a little better at it, but mine are very little. So no, I agree. He's not doing so hot on maintaining it.
So is there, has
So
that
there-
been, has that been
well-
discussed with him, I guess?
He had an inspection completed in April. We completed one on Tuesday, I believe. We need to write it up and
Okay.
see how it compares to April. If he hasn't complied with it, then I mean there are methods that we can take, finding and shutting it down. And
Okay,
Is expecting the storm drain water down the hill.
Well, we've checked the lift station. There was no, I mean, there was some reports of some water going into the lake from the storm lift station. I mean, the storm lift station had 0 had a little bit of brown milkiness in the water, you know, which is gonna happen in any storm drain. You gotta filter the clay on top of it. But essentially, it's like taking a cup of food coloring and dumping it in 1,000 gallons of water and then pump pressure and then dump it. There's no residue, the pump station's clean. I mean, so I don't know.
Well, those drains covered right
All
now.
the drains, we make them cover the drains to keep the mud out.
Right.
So that's
But in the meantime, when we get a heavy rain,
right. And that's
where's that
part of-
water gonna go? Straight down 136. And guess whose property it goes into?
No, I understand that.
Yours.
When we make them put those in.
I think yours, Chuck, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, keep an eye on it for
All right.
us. Let us know.
Well, I mean,
Okay.
if you guys like to have the bill for my furnace, I just had to replace it because it
All
got
right.
flooded again.
Okay.
I mean, it's a stormwater issue that needs to get fixed.
I mean, maybe that's another place where the final coat of asphalt and get those drains functioning properly is a great, you know, that'd be a good- that water instead of-
And
Okay.
shouldn't he be here requesting that? Shouldn't he be here requesting that?
You can. Can't
We can
force them to.
request- we can request that of him if we see it being an issue. I mean, technically, according to the rules, he's not allowed to put the final coat on until 80%.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, well, that's,
Yeah.
could be 10 years.
Right, so right now.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they did the commencement on Sunday.
I know you're not good, but
Yeah.
we have to move on.
And they made it.
All right. Well, I'm going to call this meeting adjourned. It was 9/11.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Almost before the lighthouse closed, Jerry. You almost nailed it, kid. I'm social distancing anyhow. I'm not going there.
You're so full of crap, Jen.
Social distancing here.
Where were you Monday night?
Social distance.